Powered by Virginia Radio.
Yo, 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 yo. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Wednesday to you all. What a beautiful day it has been today. I hope the week has met you well. I hope life is treating you right. I hope we are still evolving, people. Evolving daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Let's evolve. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and all evolve. Evolution is so great. So, talking about evolution, that brings me to my very special guest, my friend. Amazing. You know her from Lipstick Confections. You know her from her music. You know her from her promoting. You know her from her art. She's just a visionary of sorts that brings her to amazing visionaries, baby. Check her out. Tell the people what it is.
Oh, Miss T spills. Yes, we out here spilling the tea. She got me out here spilling the tea today, honey.
Yes, sip a little tea, darling.
Let's
Just a
cheers
tad.
to the tea.
Oh, cheers. Cheerio.
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 Salud. Cheers to the
Cheers.
improvement. Hello.
Yes.
What you say? Evolution.
Evolution, darling.
Evolution. Cheers to evolution.
Cheers to evolution.
Mm.
I sip
It's
to
a yes,
that.
ma'am. It's a yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It's a yes, ma'am.
So tell the people about who is amazing.
I would be a little southern country girl. No, I'm playing. But I'm from Portsmouth, born and raised. I was also raised in Chesapeake. What up, Hornets? Okay, GH Wrinkle. T Creek, Camelot.
Shout them out.
Look, Great Bed, Janelle. Hello, a little bit of everywhere. Hello. But Portsmouth has been my stomping ground since I was born. Portsmouth General Hospital.
Okay.
So I am definitely an 80s baby. And for a long time, I did not understand who I was during that era. I think our families were more so get education as much as possible, go to your colleges if possible, and what goes on in this house stays in this house. So
Come on now. All the re-education.
yes.
So
So we're doing a lot of improving, like you said, improving on ourselves daily. I had to drop a lot of my old habits and my old ways of thinking, and let my little inner girl, that child inside of me, to let her know it's okay to grow up. And it's still times where we find ourselves trying to protect like the younger parts of us, or trying to show that we're all grown up. We're not those little girls anymore.
Yes.
And we overcompensate. So the music that I'm focusing on is definitely to clear that up, to allow people to know we all go through it. Y'all are not out here by yourselves feeling these types of ways.
Nope,
so
not even.
hello, we just don't like, everybody doesn't like to broadcast it and talk about it. Like, I don't know how you feel, but usually when I'm going through stuff, let me go ahead and get through it, and then we can discuss, afterwards, because I might not feel like everything needs to have everybody's attention. Some things we have to go through for ourselves individually.
It's seclusion.
And
Isolation.
Exactly.
But that's when you're able to have a deeper growth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's layers to growth.
Yeah.
I think it's layers to evolution. I think at some points in our lives and certain issues when we're evolving, it may require attention, because maybe it's a part in which people are not able to deal with by themselves.
Yes.
Because it takes a special kind of individual to be able to pull yourself out.
Correct.
Now, a lot of us do, and then a lot of us do it incorrectly. So it's a difference, And some people kind of cope better with themselves, or some people cope better with others. I think your strength is at a point for real, and your inner knowledge of self and inner knowledge of life, I guess your higher being, I'm not even gonna say I guess, your spirituality most definitely is a big part of that. With if practice right.
Yes.
let me. I gotta say it.
Daily.
Practice right.
Yeah.
It can help you deal like that. But I think for some people, yeah, some people of course are attention seekers or whatever sorts. Yeah, that's a fact. But then I think it's some people who really desperately need help because they know no other way of handling it without getting help.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not gonna lie. This week in particular, like right down to this morning, uh, having to have conversations with people that were going through a lot of stuff. Single mom, little children, young children under 2 years old. Well, three under 3 years old. 3 and under, and having a difficult time with the father, feeling like the father isn't financially as dedicated as she is, and in return is now, I want to talk to him, you talk to him, and well, this is due at this point in time, and this is due, and my name is on this, and his name is on this. So now it's like they're trying to separate everything, but it was so much bitterness. I'm gonna be honest. It was bitterness. You could tell that the frustration has started building up. Like when we go through relationships, sometimes you get disappointed. So if you are disappointed, if you don't really discuss it or you don't allow yourself to accept what that feeling is, right, then you just try to skate across it, you're not necessarily going to get the healing that you need. So now I feel like that's what wound up happening to a lot of co-parenting situations and then relationships that no longer work, whether you outgrow them or it just won't meant to be in the capacity that we put them in. Like if we sometimes we're moving too fast.
Exactly.
Some of us keynote. It's okay to slow down. It's all right. Yeah. I just want to get to know you, babe. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, we can take it to India.
Okay, come on.
Slow down. Hold on, I said the wrong.
Look, I was about to say, which one is it?
Sometimes you gotta be still before you can get ahead. Be real.
Hey.
Take some time to free yourself. You know, I can't really say.
I like that though.
Chaos isn't good for your health.
Come on.
India got me through college.
Come on now.
India got me through college. India, shout out to India. The
India, I read, okay, fellow Librian. Hello.
Listen, because it's just a different perspective. Everything I've been learning and all the summits I've been going to and all the classes that I've been taking and all the coaching and things I'm trying to do to make sure that I'm the best me qualified for what I'm trying to do. Because when you're working with people, you need to understand that there's multiple dynamics of people. So being able to deal with them properly, because everybody requires different things, you know. So and I said all that to say the key point. All of them say, whether it's business, whether it's about speaking, whether it's about with food, all of it is about the main thing. It centers around mindset. Are you going to have a rich mindset? Are you going to have a poor mindset? And it sounds like something like, yeah, I want to be rich, but it's not that. And the mindset is so important, right? Just not even going offset, but staying back on what we're talking about, even in relationships. The mindset is so important because sometimes we put ourselves into positions or in situations because it seems right. Yeah. It's not the mindset we're in. Because think about it. You have to have a certain mindset to be a wife or a husband or a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Let's understand. Because sometimes you're in a single mindset. If you're in a selfish place, then you're in a single mindset. You should not want to be with anybody else like that on that level. You might want to smash, whatever. But it should be because you're in a mode where that's not productive. So if your mindset is not productive to the desired result, then you're kind of...
you're going to wind up sabotaging the situation because you forcing something like
that you really don't want, really.
That in your mindset. It's not necessarily. I think this is what it is because I've had 2 relationships that since my adult years of dating, where I was actually like not just dating and actually in a monogamous relationship. Now, dating for me has looked like you might go out with a couple people throughout the week. don't mean you're letting off on anything and the rocket's being fired off. Hello, but you still give yourself an opportunity to see what it is about that person's company that you enjoy, and likewise for me, what do I enjoy sharing with somebody? Because you go through so many messed up situations. It's like, okay, I know what I want, I know what I like, but is it more detail that I need to add into it? Because what I've been getting, it has not been the full result. So I want to see the full result. And sometimes we get that non-result at that point in time, that negative, so that we don't necessarily jump into something like you were saying before we're ready for it, and then we don't know how to. We pray for something, we manifest something, and it comes, and we don't know how to take care of it because we've been saying it, we've been projecting it, we've been thinking about it, but we haven't taken the steps to allow it to dwell and to grow.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you said that because I had to change my prayer life. See, I had to pray for the mindset to take the capacity of what I wanted. Because what is it to get the thing that you want and you not in the proper space to deal with it? It's the same thing you just said. But it's, see, I, I, I try to look at the things from the inner, what I am, and that's me. We are the constant work in our life. So it's like even in that relationship, in that businessship, in that new endeavor, and whatever is going on, what is it that I have to do to get my space? Like, okay, in relationship wise, if I want to be a spouse, if I want to be a wife to somebody, right? Then I have to. It's things in my mindset that I'm gonna have to start shifting. I have to be able to be more compromising. I have to be willing to like really sit back and kind of like analyze what they're saying because it ain't no. You can't brush that.
I'm going back to my house.
Right? That's not what it is. Right. Like, you have to actually take that time and really like try to really understand and get to know a person. Right. It's such a whole. It's something that I don't think people with a lot of things in our lives we don't really look at fully what it really requires. We just look at the thing.
Yes,
like, that's why I
the
say
end result,
the idea of things. See, people fall in love with the
idea
and not the actual thing. I say that a lot because that's truth. Like I used to say that when I was younger. I was like, you just love the idea of me. You don't really love me.
Yes.
You don't really.
You haven't gotten to know me enough to really love me. Yeah. You like me. But you don't like me, love me.
You love the idea of me. You love what it look like. You love what you see. You love what it could, what you think, whatever. You ain't really, you don't love me though. You love what I bring. You love the persona of me, the idea. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay because I fell in love with people's ideas.
Yes.
We all have to a certain degree. It's okay. And we fall in love with ideas in our lives. And sometimes that's why it doesn't mature into the reality because it's the idea. We ain't look at, okay, so to do this, you got to compromise. You might have to do this when you don't want to. You got to talk to somebody when you want to be a loner because regardless of how people personally I am, I'm a loner. I love that alone time. I'm alone. You know that. I'm a loner. Like, I'm cool with being secluded in the crib. Like, and when I pop out, I pop out. But when I'm in, I'm in.
Hello.
Either dynamic. Yes. So it's like, you got to deal with, okay, that time is going to be kind of not your time. So you got to be ready for that. So I had to realize that sometimes I was the reason. Well, I knew that already though. Like I said it, like I've had really good guys in my life. Some of the times I just wasn't ready. And so I forfeited because I was like, look, I like you, but I can't really be in a relationship because
I've done that before. I've separated myself from somebody when I was in it was like mid-20s, and it was just like, you have all your stuff together, and you actually are pouring into me. Like, he was an older guy, so we did have a slight age difference, but it was still like he wanted to make sure certain things were taken care of, and that set my standard, to be honest, to what it looked like to actually have someone who would be able to listen, to be able to communicate, be able to provide what it is as far as protection, feeling safe, feeling secure, stable, you know what I'm saying? And then still being open to whatever it was that needed to happen. But I told him because I was not confident in myself. It was a situation at that point where I had not built up my own confidence or even was able to see. I was still coming out of the negative relationships and you know, with that mindset, I had that renewed mindset. And then you talking about compromise. Compromise is one of the biggest things that is, I feel like, an issue in relationships, and not being honest about what it is we really want, because we done compromised in the past. So now we kind of, this is why dating for me is important, because now it's like, let's make sure that we still on the right track. Okay. Let's make sure that you still are understanding and seeing what it is. And then some of the stuff I had to realize, some of the stuff that I wanted, I didn't necessarily need for my next portion in my life.
Talk.
And it wasn't going to be beneficial for my children either. So if it's not going to continuously be a building for generations, and it's going to somehow cause chains that go back on it, and it's not even my own change, it's chains that I'm allowing, shackles that I'm allowing now to weigh down in our lives, and myself, my children, and anybody else that's attached. That's not fair. You got to let people go when it's not right and be okay with it. Like,
and I think a better issue with that, and I ain't trying to say it like that, but it's a not allowing so much in either. Because some things can really be avoided in our lives. It's always, most of the time, it's red flags. People, excuse me, guys, are typically not that good the way they can really conceal who they are. Maya Angelou said the best thing: when a person reveals themselves to you, believe them. See, it's our fault as people, because we have like this savior complex, right? Where we feel like we want to see the greater good in everybody. We want to see the best, the potential, and all of that. But that is you. That's expectations, which are only yours, not the other person's, and especially if not expressed or explained. Right? So I feel like for us, we feel like it, and this is human beings, because a lot of us do this, and it's not everybody, no, it's not. But for most of us, we at either some point in our life or currently are trying to feel like we can be God. We are not God. You cannot fix nobody. You cannot save nobody. You are put there to either plant a seed, grow a seed, water a seed, groom a seed, prune a seed, harvest a seed. Okay, you are not there to do nothing else.
Come on.
And I get what you're saying when you say picky. When you are a parent, you have to pick differently with your kids too, because that has stopped me from having a lot of different potential relationships, because I'm like, no, you live this kind of lifestyle, and I got boys, I can't do that. Because even though you might be alright for me, you wouldn't be alright for them. And
this
how
is
is
not
that gonna
how
work?
I want my kingdom to.
How is that gonna work?
When we break it down,
like,
yes.
Some things ain't worth playing, because a lady said something so monumental to me. I always talk about somebody said somebody went to me the other day. She was like, you know why her mom or grandma told her, you know why God didn't put our vagina on our forehead? Because it ain't meant for everybody. That's why he put it in between our legs, right? And
it's not meant for everybody to see. I like that. I like that. I like that. That's real life.
I was like, oh, I ain't never heard it like that. That was so
okay.
And I was just like, yeah, exactly, right. And it makes
that's the fourth eye. Not even the third eye. That's the fourth eye.
Shoot, that's to give her a life, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we say it, and people have said it forever. But when you take the time to really think about that, and men as well, your loins is precious as well. They speak about the loins. It's the seed come from the loins. So, the loins is special as well. You have to be particular about who you share it with. Even when you think about Hermetic philosophy, right? That's the transfer of energy. So, it deals with the transfer of energy, and they talk about when you have sex with people, you're going to transfer energy. Whoever is the more dominant is going to have a more input into the less dominant partner. Now, regardless of who you think you are, men and women alike, you have reverse roles of being the dominant and not dominant, depending on the partner, right? Because everybody's energy is encompassed in different ways, males and females. So it's a possibility that a woman can outpower a man, and it's a possibility that a man can outpower a woman when it comes as energy, right? So, saying all that to say, you have to be very particular of the energy in which you are absorbing, because you don't know what end of the spectrum that you fall on. So, and then even if, okay, so that's like the input into the vessel, but even as with just the mere transferring of the ins and the out as the intercourse.
Okay. Hello, I got you.
Proceeds.
Hello. Okay.
you have to be careful of that. Because sometimes, have you ever woke up from having sex and you feel a different way than what you did because you picked up that person's stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why some people are, especially like you think about like prostitutes, or you think about people who have ever been like gang raped or raped by multiple people, right? They, you see how their body is so like
robotic sometimes.
Different, yeah. It's very lucid because they are embodying all that energy and the trauma that happened. On top of that, that's a lot. That's why it takes them so long to like get back to themselves. It's deeper than just a physical. It's energy is real. People talk about energy, but when you really understand how the transferring of energy goes on, you would think about how you move just a little teensy bit differently. That's even with like being in crowds and groups and stuff. Energy is transferable that way as well.
So real.
You know.
I ain't gonna lie, that for a second, that's why I didn't even want to really go out, especially when it's like an animal when they eating. They usually are more vulnerable when they eating, mating, or sleeping. That's usually the most times that they're more vulnerable. For me, going into spaces, it felt like that healing process that you're already trying to go through, being around a bunch of people at that point in time, like going into clubs, having to interact with people and stuff. It was like the night. Oh my gosh! Hello, birthday weekend friend. Hello, look. Walked in the building. I was like, oh, hold on. It was like just hot everything. It wasn't even the fact it was so many people that was in there. It's just the fact of you feeling instantly pressure and heaviness, like weight from everybody else's whatever they have going on. And then, you know what I'm saying, some people, you looking at them, they looking like they're entire different form. Like, you see the person right there, but you see what is actually behind them, like the shaping of it. So it's like, oh, interesting. Okay, how's your night? Hello, like, so us being able to have those different gifts and stuff, and then being able to say, listen, I like to be able to recognize how somebody might need to be able to be healed. I like to know those things when it's time. However, it is not my duty. This is what I learned. It is not my job. And I say this for anybody. I'm going to just go ahead and put it out there for anybody that ever tries to approach me in any capacity. I may have had trauma in my past. However, that is not what my life is dictated on. That trauma did not make who I am. It was a part of it that created that additional resistance, which for me, like, for a minute, I wasn't even talking about, you know what I'm saying, me really wanting what it was that I really want. I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't want to give all the details of what it was, because I felt like, oh yeah, here you go. Again, people pick it up, you know, and they go try to imitate it. You know what I'm saying? And I already get enough imitation that I have to sort through. So it's like, I don't want the imitation. If you are fake and phony about yourself, don't try to present yourself to someone. And it's happened in the past. People are presenting themselves one way, and then 2-3 months down the line, it shows to be something else. But again, that's where our patience come in at, and taking it slow, taking that time to get to know somebody. Exactly. Like, getting your art in. Hello. Be creative to express. You feeling all that anger, rage, joy, happiness. Express. Spill your tea and get some art creativity going on. Okay?
It definitely helps. Right. Yeah. Listen, authors is at an all-time high. Write poetry, write something, write a letter, write a journal, write your thoughts, write just what you want to say, your curse words, whatever, write, like talking to something, record it, draw, paint, skip, jump, do something with yourself for real. Like, when you get to those points of
lowness.
Yeah. Do something. Don't let it just stay bottled up. Don't let it sit on you or wallow on you. Don't let it wallow in it.
And if you know that it is somebody like thinking about a situation where it's relatable, knowing someone that has been a negative relationship where, has been maybe verbally abusive, financially neglectful, and it was some, what I'm saying, extracurricular activities going on during the relationship. Folks was smashing on other folks. Let's keep the stat. Hello. And it got to a point where that couple was still together because of their brokenness, and really wanting to see each other heal, but also it was still a point of, you could see the tit for tat that was going between them.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, the immaturity of, if you really want to get past something, get to the resolution instead of how can I prove my point and make this person get my point. It does not matter how much you explain, break down to somebody, if a person already has in their mind what it is that they want to respond to you in. Not even hear you, like listening to hear. Most people are hearing you in order to know when to respond. So if they're not actually even really receiving, they listen. Okay. There's that keyword. No, see, this is exactly what I need to tell you. This is why you messed up. Like it misses the whole point. Like, go ahead, let's get to the real healing. If you having an issue with your partner and you no longer satisfied, and go ahead and separate from it then, and be okay with saying, look,
people like holding people's lives up. I don't know why people get so complacent, and I can't get complacent with me like that. Right. I'm sorry, I can't get complacent with me like that. I have been in that space for a short while, and yeah, that's not what it is.
Yeah,
and I had to learn, like,
yeah. Let go of the hurt.
You gotta let people see it. For me, I didn't like to hurt people. That's my thing. I don't like to really hurt people. So it's like I let stuff play out longer, like try to do something they don't like, or something like that, Right. Because I done been done wrong. I done been encouraged. So I don't try to do that to nobody else. Right. And I had to come to a point where I could just, now with some people it's easy to just say, I don't want to talk to you. That's exactly easy. But with some people it's not so easy. It's just the finding the space. I forgot what I was saying. I got thrown off.
Okay. I'm sorry. Look.
Yeah, you alright.
Yes, loud.
Loud in the building.
Brian, don't stop.
Hold on, y'all. Since we done had a little break. Jay Savage, no lacking. All right, shout out. All right. Freakazoid. Okay, A-Y-C. Come on. Will, what you talking about? Real spill. What's up, Zoe? Okay, people that I can see. How y'all doing? Hello. Y'all can call in. 964
93
67.
Call us, darling.
Call us. Is a free form. We talking about everything. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna hit a various of things. We can about to wrap up on these relationships. Yeah. But talking about that's what I wanted to say about the relationships. I was getting to a second. So
I like it.
So with the relationships, sometimes too with relationships, once we are in a thing or whatever, the person kind of show us that for real, in the beginning, you gotta be honest, they do show us. But what they do, they flip around and they do what we say that we want. But they show us that ain't really what they want to do from you. Sometimes. Now, sometimes you get good people.
That's why I don't want to always say what it is that I want, because I feel like people are going to try to get tricky. And this is where the discernment got to kick in.
And also, this is where, thank you.
You got to pray ahead of time.
That's what the real thing was. Before you even get to it, right? I feel like if we first have to heal from whatever our traumas is, because what happens is we attract that spirit of being healed because we always want to heal. We attract that spirit of somebody want to be saved because we always want to save, because that's what we put off. When we change what we put off, when we change what we put out there, when we change, like, for one thing, I had struggled with being so dominant because I was forced to be a provider for so long that I just knew how to be the head.
And just because you know how to do it, you shouldn't have to be in a relationship that force you to have to do it. That's the time that you want to be softer.
Exactly. And then that's what I was going to say, because when you're like that, it's hard to be yoked with a man. And I realize that, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to be with a man because you stepping on his toes. You know what I'm saying? So you got to let that down. And that's hard to understand that you got to turn that off. Like, because you never really understood it was on. It became such a natural part of life.
Correct.
That it trickled into stuff. So that was really hard for me. With transition after being single for so long and going into a relationship.
Yeah.
That was different. Cause playing is different from being in a relationship.
Right,
you know, being in a relationship is different. It has requirements.
Yes.
Attention.
You gotta call back. You have to text them back. At least check on them at least 3 times, 2 times a day. Morning when you wake up, no, you be busy throughout the day. Then nighttime before y'all go to bed. Like, it's a bare minimum because I this is my thing. I feel I can't speak for everybody. On my end, because I already have so much going on, I wasn't requiring for somebody to do a whole bunch of extra. However, if I don't work or just us being separated and I made, like, throughout the day, the work day, we finally get back around each other, you tell me we're going to spend time at a certain time, and you already know I usually do everything to the absolute last minute. So I don't want, and that's something I've been working on. So if that's something I've already been working on, don't tell me, oh, I'm about to pull up or I'm coming to get you at this time, and then you don't show up at that specific time and you don't communicate anything. You don't say anything. It's hold on, wait a minute. That puts a wall again. So a lot of times when we are in these relationships, like, we allow those walls. We feel like we've given trust. Sometimes they ain't necessarily earned it, but we've given it to them because of what they've explained as who they are. You know what I'm saying? Before we actually got to see the person that's in a relationship. Like, I feel like you get 2 different people. You might know somebody for years and be friends with them. And then as soon as you get in a relationship with them, it's like, oh, that's how you function in this space. Okay. Yeah, this is not the space for me. Or this is the space for me. Like, you
yeah, I get what you're saying with that. I get what you're saying with that. I definitely get what you're saying with that. Like, again, knowing what you really want. Because I feel like, for real, just in this space in my life, really understanding what I really want. I ain't always been here, but really understanding what I really want. Now, I've had times when I knew what I wanted to do. Because I went through stages for long periods of time where I remained single because I knew that's not what I wanted. Because I knew I didn't want a boyfriend. Like, I didn't want that requirement. I didn't. So it's like, but when I wanted it, it was like, you have to know what you want. So just because you want something, don't mean you accept what comes and try to make it to something that you want.
Come on.
You got to realize that something ain't adding up to the something you want. And you just got to let that, you see, because I think too many times as women, we fall into whatever come first. That really catch our eye. You gotta you gotta kind of I ain't saying
date around.
But I'm just saying, if one presents itself right and it doesn't show itself to be right, be like, all right, and be okay with that, and be still till somebody else come. And if they don't fit or whatever, be cool with that. Yeah. Like, I feel like, though, but after a time or left, we feel like it's a requirement or something we got to do or something we want to do. I feel like that's why sometimes as women we become in a cycle. And even as men, we become in a cycle because people feel like that they have to have it. So without it, it's not whatever. Instead of just taking that time to get yourself together, because I've learned being single, I'm actually a little bit more productive than when I'm with somebody. Yes. Because I don't have that distraction, because when I have somebody, I'm going to want to cater to them.
Come on.
So
I'll wait
it's
for
like,
you to say it, because that is
that's
so
why I've been kind of like,
that's like,
you know, a little bit like, I'm kind of. Because I'm trying to stay focused on where I
It's
focus.
real.
So
It's
once my
real.
focus blossom, like if I meet somebody that can equally slide into my focus and we can still,
That's what I'm
then
saying.
that'll be something different.
We both
But
busy. Let's link our schedules together.
I ain't
Calendar
even
dates.
trying to see, and that's
Keep
the thing.
to it.
I'm just trying to move real slow. I ain't even trying to do that. Wherever it flow, it may flow.
Yeah.
Like I have come to a point that organically let things just be or blossom or grow or not or stay the same, and it's okay.
I do agree with that. You definitely have to let it flow.
Just
natural.
let it flow.
Yeah, don't
like, because
force and go in with the expectation. This is how it's gonna be. So don't be such a what they call a stick in the mud, a stickler already to what it is that you want. Yeah, don't even do that because you're gonna set yourself up. And then that's another thing. See, you don't want to be angry. You wind up being angry and mad because somebody is not working out in the way that you expected them to. Even like you said, even if you communicated it or was not communicated, the fact that you want someone to do something robotically in a way that makes you feel comfortable, and because that's not something that either they are accustomed to, that they have learned, that they have seen before,
or even want to do,
or even want to do. Like, allow your person to love you how they know how, and then if there is more that you would like, express that. I had to learn that.
And ask the right questions. See, because y'all just tell the people, right? You can't just tell the people. You got to say, okay, so this is what I want. Then can you be that?
Right.
See, what a question.
Right.
See, because you're not giving them no chance to respond.
And I love an
even
honest
be.
person.
Like,
yes.
I need you to,
Yes.
I need to answer some questions and stuff.
What's some of the questions that you've asked people before?
Like, what is your plans? Where do you want us to go? And I ain't even talking about, because see, I'm not a person that jumps in like, oh, let's talk about marriage. No. Now, I do want to know, do you ever want to possibly get married? But then kind of, I really don't, because I feel like this, right? If somebody wants to marry you, they will. Yes. Like, I feel like that is not something that I should have to tell you that I want. That's something that you should want for me. Because they say a man to find a wife, find a good thing. I'm supposed to present myself. So as I present myself, I present it.
Correct.
And you supposed to see whatever you see in me. Yes. And that's how you supposed to choose. Like, yeah, I got things to do. I'm not saying I just got to be there and show up. No. But I feel like it's certain questions. I'm not girly like that. Mine is like, I ask like, what's your plans? Like, you know, I can't have any kids. Like, what is your plans on that? Like, it's certain things I do bring up because I know that certain things for certain men is very important, especially if they're men who haven't had children yet, and that's their expectations. Because I ain't trying to hold you up, because that's not something that I can give you. So okay, like I ask questions that pertain to what I got going on, that pertain to what I want for right now. Because I know about later, but we're gonna learn later as I deal with you right now. So my right now is like what we got going on right now. Like how are you with children, like stuff like that. Those are the questions. So what kind of questions you ask?
Oh, honey, girl, I go down the list.
I just say what take about time.
Right. Okay. Look.
But go ahead, tell me
okay. So, what are those issues that you specifically know you are still working on as an individual? Because for me, if we get into a relationship, you need to know what your demon time already is. And I need to be able to know that you know who you are enough to tell what the difference is and what things shift your moods and things like that. Are you bold enough to be able to communicate that part? Are you the type of person that like to give a little and then draw back? Do you get overwhelmed quickly? Are you able and willing to be an emotional support as well as a physical support system? Because people usually don't have a problem being there physically, as long as it's not like coming out their pocket too much, or it's not interfering with what time that they have other stuff planned. They usually don't mind the physical sense of it, but the emotional and spiritual. Are you a praying man? Listen, are you a person that has self-control enough that you honor what your own morals and values are? Or are you so double-minded that anytime temptation come or anything that looks like it's a good distraction, you willing to go for it as long as it look good, feel good, smell good, is good for me, right? So are you able to distinguish what really is something that is good for you? Are you able to make good decisions? Like, really, like, are you making temporary decisions or good decisions? And then with the decisions that you make, do you communicate with the people that's involved, or do you just do stuff and expect for everybody to fall in line? Because again, I'm looking for somebody who I'm allowing my patients to sit his little self in full mode and continue to work while the person I'm supposed to be with, the husband, counterpart, divine, however it needs to be explained, good Lord, you know. Okay, that person is going to, I know I'm going to need somebody that can break down how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not be able to be used to communicating, like, about why you're upset. When did you start having this type of issue or this attitude? Could we have talked about this a little bit earlier in order to address it so that, you know what I'm saying, instead of the sweeping? Because that's one thing I've definitely noticed. A lot of the gentlemen that I have come in contact with, that has been one of their issues, whether currently or in the past, having to stop sweeping stuff underneath the mat and just say, okay, well, yeah, my feelings hurt because you didn't call me back last night, or yeah, I'm upset because I didn't get a chance to see you when I wanted to see you, or, you know, my money acting funny. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, seeing people through the 4 seasons. Can you like how are those mood changes? Like like seriously, is it you going in heat?
But see, and that for me, like a lot of those
cool
questions
down?
that you ask, they are questions that I have, but I observe because
Yes.
I've learned I don't like to put people in a position where they have to lie to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I'm gonna hold you to what you said.
Okay.
So I just observe because a lot of those questions they're gonna show.
They're
gonna show in their actions. So I ask questions that maybe make them think. More so, like a lot of those questions I would ask, and I have those in my mind. But I don't ask because what I learned from me is that sometimes deters me from them because I feel like. And sometimes it might not even be so because people always don't handle stuff the way we handle it, right?
Right. Very true. Very true.
And when you expect them to handle the same way, because like when we converse, I'm gonna expect you to handle it the way that you say it. Right. And I understand that men, right? Because men, let's understand first, men have a lot of traumas and triggers that they have not been able to deal with
or express.
Or express. A lot of men have went through a lot of things, and women, we must be men peace sometimes. Like, you gotta be his peace. You cannot be fussing, moaning, groaning, griping, nagging, bitch. All the time. You cannot. You gotta be appreciative. You gotta adore him. You gotta like build him up. You gotta inspire him, motivate him. He gotta dream. Push
if
it.
he doing what he's supposed to be doing.
I'll get ready to get to
hello,
that. Yes,
hello. Because that's definitely don't give the wifely duties when he's just a boyfriend. I'm just saying, like, okay,
but see,
we do too much. I can say for myself. I have done too much. Like, but sometimes your point to meet this person, I want to make your life easier. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And then I got to a point where, oh yes, you would like your clothes washed. It's $30 for a small load. 50 for a large. You need an extra large with extra comforters. That's gonna probably run you about $80. And yes, you do have to buy your own supplies. I'll wash it, fold it, prep it. You need me to help you put it up? Cool, I got you. However, my time is just as important as yours. So especially when you deal with somebody that's extra busy and all of that, or you feeling like you're not getting everything that you need because they so busy with work, this, that, and the third. Oh baby, but I'm basically being the house duty wife. Oh cool. I need my money. Yeah. And then we gonna be able to still go out on date night, and you gonna love it when you come back to the house nice and clean. It smells so good. Got the candles going. Got your tea. Hello, ready? Hello.
Got them amazing candles, boy.
Got your bubble bath. Listen, he don't even like taking bubble baths, but he like taking them for me. That's all I'm saying. So being able, when we know what we want to give somebody, and we also know exactly what it is that we're willing to accept. Because if we not getting certain things given to us to fill our love needs, our heart space that is, we already done came through our healing portions. Like, it's some stuff some traumas that we've already had to heal from. If we already done healed from some stuff, why would we sit up there and accept any old thing that looked like our past?
Yeah, because a lot of us have let go of the past. We drag the past with us in a tote bag, and we wait to unpack it at places where we stop. So that comes with healing. That comes with evolving. That comes with really healing. Because when you really heal from something, it can no longer affect you the same way that it affected you before. And for me, I've learned how to guard me in that regard by simply not matching your energy. Because excuse me, sorry y'all. I am extreme whatever emotion I am, you know that about me. So I'm an extreme lover. Like I love great because I love to love. I love for a person to be loved by me. I love the feeling or whatever. So I know that, right? But no, however, however,
excluding anything. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. However, it's like I had to realize about how much attention is that person deserving of. See, I had to learn about the access that I was willing to give to me. So that came from my own self-evaluation and my evaluation of them. See, because you can't expect, we put too much, not even trust, but weight on a person, but we expect them to have our intentions greater than theirs.
Come on.
Right?
And that is not going to happen. That is not proper love.
Exactly. And they have to get to a point of that. It has to be the special person. But that's, of course, obviously that person ain't the right person because they don't understand you.
Right.
So, again, how you even get to know, I feel like you get to know whether that person is right for you or not based on the energy that you get. Because, again, off the gate, these people are not... They may woo you for a little while to make you feel away.
Right.
But even in that, you can kind of see it. Whether it's a grudging type of mode, whether it's saying it again, whether it's the proud the hesitation, whether whether it's I'm too busy all the time. I think, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I don't feel that they that good. I feel we just overlook stuff that's there because of what we
ready
want.
for the new excitement. Woo! Get that stage player! Come on, coach! Get him on the stage, coach! Right? That's what be happening. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
Kill me, y'all. She's trying to kill me. Look,
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, man. I said, I said, hold on, wait. I was trying to hold my composure.
Jesus. Hold it, baby.
You know you're just getting activated.
My bad.
Activated, baby. Yes. But it's a keep going.
Well, that's exactly what at this point, being able to really like step on my own toes. Listen, so I know. I get it. This is why people do not why a lot of our relationships, like, let's say I only really had like 6 real relationships, but out of the hello, where it's been like,
I don't like the roller coaster.
And that's my thing. I'll be with them for years, and it used to be things that I would stick around. My adult years, it's only been like for real 3 of them that I would say would be at this point 2.5. I would really go with that. 2.25. Hello, but for real, like those times, I can see in my adult years a difference in my dating pattern when I was younger and my acceptance of who I allowed to approach me. Like, I definitely noticed a difference in that.
And I was backwards. Because I was in my longer relationships, when I was younger. So, like, my first one that went from real way, real way. That went from, because my first one was with,
See, exactly. They be years.
Because I was with years and then I was with her. But that one that was from childhood to adulthood, though, that's the one. That one kind of like made me be like, I'm okay. Because I put in so much time, emotions, money. Too much. And see, for me, that was enough.
Yeah.
That one lesson was enough lesson for me. So that's why it took me so long. That's why I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm out here. I'm just
Come on
let
to
me leave it
evolution and development.
And then it's like, once I got older, it was like, okay, I'm going to try this relationship thing again. And the first try was okay.
Yeah.
And this last one was great.
Yeah.
It was a long time, my longest one.
Yeah.
But it was just like I understood and I understand what it is that I truly want. And I knew at the time when I met my ex that that wasn't right. And I told him that.
Right.
But he wanted it, so I went with it.
All right,
I told you, when I did it for a while though. I was real reluctant for a long time, but then when I did it was just like, okay, it was kind of okay, and then it got great, and then it just got like,
oh, this is why I said I didn't want to do this in the video.
Because it's not nothing wrong, but it ain't all right, and I just don't know.
And I'm lying to myself.
It taught me.
Yeah.
For the next level of evolution.
Come on.
It taught me that, because I learned great lessons in that relationship. I learned about compromise. I learned about really loving a person. Like really loving a person. Loving them through their sickness, their health, their wealth, they broke, they whatever. Like loving them. And that was like good for me. That was great for me. And I felt that love in return, you know. So that was so awesome. And like I said, I'm never gonna bash the dudes because I'm not the chick to tell you. T Spills, thank y'all fellas. Y'all been alright to me. Now I had a couple of y'all to try to drag me, but ain't nobody never done me too dirty. So look, I appreciate y'all for the way y'all treated me. You know, I can't speak for everybody else, so I'm always pro dude. Y'all know it's a great being. But for real though, it really is a great being out here. It just depends on your delivery, your expectancy, and where you are. Because certain levels, you need different things. Like an old white man always told me this a long time ago when I was young. If you want to be the firefighter, you got to go places the firefighters can go. If you want to be the police officer, a lawyer, a dope boy, whatever you want to be, a businessman, Law Street, you got to go to those areas. Like back in the day, girls were the Navy boys, boat boys. They went to the boat boy clubs. They went to the Longshoremen halls. They went to these places because they knew what type of person they wanted. You got to go to where you want to present yourself to your potential.
Exactly.
You know. Exactly. So I feel like when we really truly understand really what it is that we want, we can put ourselves in that position. And sometimes it really takes you not worrying about it and focusing on you, because you want to be, think about it, we want a high requirement of a guy we want. We got to bring ourselves up to that high requirement as well. You cannot be asking for a grade A credit. You want to have this car, this house, this career, this whatever, and you working down here. You ain't work.
Come on.
You ain't got
rebuilding the credit.
On, man. Come on. Like you have to. That's why.
I need a cosigner. Nope. Keep building. Nope. And then allow it in. Exactly.
And then I feel like sometimes we meet people to help them out. I feel like sometimes you right though. Somebody said a date should reveal their level. I think so.
Immediately.
Think about it.
So
whether
real.
They open the door or don't open the door.
Hello.
Whether they lean in for a kiss or not. Whether they walk you to your door or not. Whether they come to the door to get you or not. It's all in presentation. Now, some people,
like, you just friends. Hello.
They carry you the way that it is. That's why I can't say that people have dogged me, because I knew what it was. It's what did you want to do? You got to be honest. You can't take a sneaky link and try to want it to treat you like a wife, and vice versa. And then go back to what you were saying earlier about not giving so much of yourself. See, women, we got to guard what we give, because we want to try to bait them in. You can't bait them in like that. Like dudes, you can't bait her in like that. Because the way you bait her in is the way you're going to have to sustain her. The way you bait them in is the way you're going to have to sustain them. If you don't live up to that part, if you can't live up to that part, why? Just be yourself. Because yourself going to show up. Period. Yourself going to show up.
Baiting in somebody. Okay, so when I was doing I called it the trial period. I would allow myself, after we have went out a couple times, we probably done made it exclusive between ourselves. Probably about 2.5, 3 months at this point. So now I'm starting to become a little more open. I'm a little more soft. So if I'm coming over the house and I see stuff a little untidy, that is a natural habit for me, because if I'm in the environment with you, that means we are sharing the environment. No, I'm not Molly the freaking babe. However, I can't stand the triflingness. If I'm already, you know what I'm saying, if we already are dealing with a bunch of extra stuff, we want to have clear space. We want to be able to have space that we can just enjoy. If your house is supposed to be my getaway spot, your house can't be the junkie getaway spot. We gonna have to work that together.
Talk this stuff.
If you be too tired to, you know what I'm saying, do certain things like cooking and things like that. Okay, if you are, I don't even like saying boyfriend. Every time I get ready to say boyfriend, girlfriend, I just feel like elementary.
Right. That's why I said spouse.
I need a man. Okay, I need a man. Hello.
Being in an exclusive relationship.
Yes, exclusive partnership. Hello, but definitely, I do not I don't down anybody for how they move, but it is, we have to be able to say what things we are okay with, and then saying it to your partner. Like, if your partner, you know what I'm saying, they don't necessarily close the lid when they flush the toilet, it's okay. Babe, that's a pet peeve, you know. I really wish you would, like, can you close it? Because all the germs from the toilet just kind of fly out the bowl when you flush it, even if it don't splash a lot. I'm just thinking about it. Psychologically, it's just messing with me. And I would just love it, babe, if you would just, like, close it. If you got to break it down like that to them. Sometimes you have to, because they like, what the fuck I'm going to close the lid for? What's wrong? All the water going to go down anyway. Like, what's the problem? You got, like, I only pee. Like, it's not that serious. But it's just little stuff like that, because when you married, like, I've been married before, and seeing that difference with you being with somebody that has said, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm talking about with my ex-husband. I'm talking about I had went through the whole fasting. When I say I was celibate, the whole 2.5 years before that, it was on shutdown mode. And the reason I gotta say 2.5, because the sister was on the self-pleasure mode. So I definitely had to do my own little thing as far as that went. But you don't learn really how men don't really off top know how to be a husband. Same way we as women don't know how to be a wife. We've been taught traits of these things. We've been taught pieces of these things, which is why I feel like when you come into a relationship with somebody, being able to have those dates, getting to know them, getting to understand what it is that forms them, which is why it's so important. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you were talking about being a wife and being a husband, I feel like that's why those conversations, I feel like once you become engaged, right, that's when those conversations really need to be had to adapt.
Yeah.
Like, because now you know that you want to be married. Like, you know he wants to marry you. You know that you want to marry him because you said yes. So I feel like that's when it should be, even if it should have already been hits of it or whatever the case. But like I said, I'm not a person that rushes marriage on people. I feel like they're going to know when they want to marry. So, but once you're engaged, I feel like that's when you start having conversations. So, babe, what would you... what do you want from me? Like, what do you expect me to do now that I'm about to be your wife? What is it that is a wife to you? And then you ask him, what is it that is a husband? You know, he should ask you, what is it that's a husband? You know what I'm saying? What is it that I need?
Like for,
what is it? Because I think that's what we fail, because it's not no one answer. It's just like with children. No children can be raised the exact same because they're different characteristics, different setups, different circumstances. I feel like it's the same application when it comes to relationships.
Yes.
So I feel as though with relationships, there's that conversation that needs to be had where we are really telling each other what our expectations are, because at this point, it's a requirement. It's pivotal because it's whether we're going to have a happy life or a miserable life. Now, stuff's going to come, but think about it. You can tell people who have had these conversations, because when they become divorced, they're okay with that. It was amicable. Isn't that the word?
Yes.
Because why? They were already in a space that either they understood that they either outgrew the plan. Come on now, because see, people act like that. that's why I'm not always with the right or wrong, because it's not
It's
always a right or wrong,
neutral
because some things
spaces.
is what get you to your next.
Correct.
It took you and that person to be y'all together, for you to grow to be who you supposed to be, and him to grow to be who he's supposed to be, and now y'all go on and y'all flourish into you who you are supposed to be.
Exactly.
And who says it's over for you?
Exactly.
Because normally those people get together with somebody else, both of them, not just one.
Right.
Because it was at a space where they needed each other for that season.
Correct.
To grow.
Correct.
And to nurture each other's whatever. Because they were perfect for each other at that time.
Yes.
But once evolution hit, it was time to separate. See, I'm normally cool with all my exes because I get it. Sometimes stuff is not that deep.
Right.
Like,
It's
sometimes
just not the right
stuff is just that
timing.
timing. And I know for me, I always tell them, damn, it's just not the right time.
Yes.
And a lot of situations for me, it's either he won't ready or I won't ready. It just won't the right time.
Yes. And being honest about it.
Being honest. Like, I tell you, because I don't want to play and waste your time, because I don't want you to play and waste time.
Come on.
I don't have no ulterior motives. I don't have none of that. You know, no hidden agendas. So, go ahead, baby.
I'm sorry.
No, you good. No. I feel like, but a man should really, to be honest, and this is not giving me a more whatever, a man should actually know what it is to be a husband, or some idea of what it is to be a husband before he asks
what type
a
of
man
husband
to
you
be
want to
a
be.
wife.
Hello, what type of husband?
But you got to ask him in the right season, because is he ready yet?
Exactly.
Because he's not going to know if he's not ready.
He gonna start studying. He gonna stutter as soon as.
You gonna get that white man that's gonna tell you that good shit. I mean, you ain't gonna be able to.
You hurt. Yeah.
No, I ain't talking about just the good stuff.
Yeah.
You gonna know it. He gonna talk it and walk it. See, it's our fault if we don't charge them to walk when they talk. Cause guess what? Don't they charge us to walk when we talk?
Heck yes.
That's whose fault is that we don't charge them the same?
It
That's
would be
ours.
the person that stays in. Hello.
We gotta make them walk. We gotta make them walk.
This is good stuff. You better spill that tea. Hold on, so you put it down.
Ow, I was a little parched, darling. No, you spilling it with me, baby. We doing a lot of gallons.
I like it. Hello, hydration. Yes. So when you have had look, I'm sorry, I always go into it, don't I?
Come on.
My bad.
Come on, I love it. You miss it. Come on. Come back.
When we are, I'll say it like that.
Oh, say it.
Okay,
there we go.
So when you had to address things directly, and did that person usually give you like a rebuttal, the pushback? Oh no, I could fix this. We could still do this, that, and the third.
What do you mean, like when I ask them a question about?
No, when you are. Well, let me ask. Have you first of all had to have that conversation with somebody, telling them that this is what's going on in the relationship? This is where things are not satisfying.
Oh, yes.
Per se.
Yes.
Okay, so did you have what was the response? Did you have pushback after you had that discussion with that person?
Okay, so how I say this. I've been around dudes my whole life, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a different kind of approach with men because I kind of get them a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and for real, it's kind of different. I kind of get them a little bit. So it's like I love this. I know we have to have multiple conversations because I have a mentality similar to a man. So I get that same thing. When you come to somebody, the truth hurt, right? So. The first time is typically a little resistance, right? So, okay, I deal with that. I take whatever they say there. Later on, I say it in a different way. Wordplay is so... Chef Toro in the building. Wordplay is so... It is a lot. The way you say the thing, it means a whole bunch. So, when you say the thing a certain way... I come back and I remix and I say it a different way. So I say it a different way, they give me a different response. Sometimes maybe about 3 times I had a conversation for them to really understand my position, where I'm coming from, or what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That's typically how I do it. Like, sometimes people just want what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically what they want. So it's up to you whether you stay at what they want or you to choose you.
Right.
And I had to learn to choose me because I was so often choosing other people's feelings and wants over my own.
Right.
So for me, that's what it was. How about you?
And I stopped using the word boundaries when I was discussing, when it came down to time to discuss with my partner. The boundaries, I more so want to have values. Like my dating values, like, are this, that, and the third. Like, this is what I am open to be able to do and learn and experience. And I don't want to bind myself by just cutting it off there, because what if it is somebody who wants to do something that I'm not used to or accustomed to, but I've already set up a wall and a boundary and told them, well, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this, you gonna get with it or not. Like, and that's good to have those things, but as far as like knowing what it is, personality wise, character wise, like what things that they're actually able to take care of for themselves, because it's again two people bringing themselves together with a potential of either creating a business, a friendship, an association, or gaining something from one another, or a long-term relationship. So either way, you still have to consider, like, I had to still consider, what is it that I'm limiting myself on? Because a lot of that limiting, it was coming off as, oh, she insecure. She don't realize how much she deserves. Oh, she don't realize what she done bought, this, that, and the third. I'm sitting up here good. I'm going to just hold all my resources and let her do the joint, because that's what she used to anyway. She used to take care of it. So let her go ahead and do it.
That's why I feel like the boundaries are important. Because boundaries are for you.
And that
boundaries are for you, and I feel like again
don't
go back
even
with
say
flowing.
It's
go back
something
with
that
flowing.
goes with me.
You gotta just don't even say it. You just
explain
it's
the
for
values
you.
To
Yeah,
them.
you don't gotta tell them I'm not da 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 da. Because I feel like I don't like to like a liar, so I'm not gonna tell you what I'm not gonna do, because then I might end up doing it. So I'm just gonna leave it whatever, and we just gonna flow. Now it's certain things, of course, when they arise. See, I deal with things as they arise.
Yeah.
So when they arise, it's something for me to say.
Exactly.
But if don't let it arise, then I'm just gonna flow, because it's nothing to bring up. I don't want to cause no beef. I don't want to whatever. I'm just gonna go with the flow. So when the flow flows to this part, then I'm gonna address it. If the flow don't flow over there, okay. If the flow don't flow over there, then we gonna let it be. Yes. We have had a great show. We done extended the time.
Thank y'all for joining us. Thank you for having me. Like, for real, I appreciate it.
I love
this
you.
was good.
You know you my sister.
Love.
I know I got this thing. No, we're gonna take this off, y'all. Take it off. Take it off.
Thank you, baby.
It's always love LT Spills, y'all. But look, I want y'all to tune in for the Round Table Productions. It's coming on next. Oh, hey. So look, I really do enjoy you guys. You know I love y'all. The mostest. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. Yes. And you know that means so very much to me. I love you guys. Y'all stay blessed, stay up, and stay sucker free. Until the next time I see you with my amazing guest. Amazing.
Thank y'all so
Look,
much.
y'all type in T Spills Art, T Spills and Meals. Love y'all. It's been real. Bless.
Yes, I did.
Radio.